Hey, Josh Bryant here at Destination Dallas. I'm here with the Texas powerlifting legend, BJ Whitehead. I first met BJ, I think it was 2010, at the Texas State high school meet. You know, in an abyss of like coaches that didn't really look like they were hitting the pig iron too hard themselves, came this mountain of a man walking out, and we started talking training, and I started training him since then, and since then he's gone on to do great. He's totaled 2,000 raw at 275 with just knee sleeves, so totally raw. And he's a master's lifter now, and he's had some injuries along the way, but he's back, and I think I definitely am positive the best is yet to come, in the words of old Blue Eyes Frank Sinatra.
Hey, how you doing? BJ Whitehead here. Kind of lifting, I always lifted with football and sports in school. Became a high school football coach. I coach, I'm the strength and conditioning coordinator at Dayton High School. It's a small town outside of Houston. I coach defensive line, and I'm also the head powerlifting coach. Had an old former athlete come back, wanted to train, said he wanted to start competing together. So I said, well, hey, we're gonna get us a coach. So we're gonna get us a good one. So I looked up Josh, and since 2010, we've been together ever since. So that's basically it. My best competition squat is a 766. Best competition bench is a 534, and best competition deadlift is a 733. The 534 and the 766 squat were done in the same meet, but the deadlift was done in a different meet.
So I think one of the most inspiring things everybody here's going to take away from BJ is obviously, you know, just seeing what he's done, but he's had some challenges along the way. So this hasn't been like some super highway with, you know, just open lane. There's been roadblocks, detours, things like that. But at the end of the day, it's all moving forward. So tell us about some of the challenges you experienced, BJ.
The first challenge I had is probably going to be the most severe one for me. Is I've got Crohn's disease, and I've had 3 surgeries on that. Right after Josh and I hooked up in 2010, I believe after my second meet, I went into it and I think we had lost 30 pounds during football season, and January went in and had to have another surgery, and so that set us back a lot. First meet back, Josh had me on a great program, and we hit 1901, which was a complete PR at that point in time. Basically, Crohn's is a disease. It's kind of like ulcerative colitis and diverticulitis. You get ulcers and polyps, inflammation of your intestine, your colon. It's hard to digest your food. It's hard to take in food. You tend to can't hold anything down, and so basically you get into the point to where you just don't even feel like eating. And so you go through times to where the first bout I had with it, I was in the hospital for 28 days, and so I was going through an IV tube the whole time. So.
Yeah, so when BJ was down to 194, I thought at first it was almost like, am I missing something? So it must mean like, you know, 224 or something, but he really got down to 194, and then he's come back. And so each time something's happened, he's always come back stronger. So the other issue he's had was the tricep tear.
I was going through some injuries, some pain with my tricep. I went to the doctor. It was bursitis. We had done band work, things like that, and that was the only way I could get through a workout. Josh set it up to where I could, you know, lost no strength. We did a lot of extra back workout. Everything was great. Get to the meet on my second attempt, 484. Everything felt great. It felt fine. Just went on the press. Probably got about 3 or 4 inches off my chest, and then pop, it just snapped. And Shay Jones, one of Josh's other lifters, and the 2 side spars, they grabbed it before it even, you know, touched me. Everybody thought it crushed my face, but it never even touched me.
Yeah.
They did an outstanding job.
There was Shay Jones, Cody Musselwhite, David Hayes did a great job spotting. So that goes to show at these meets, it's important to get good spotters. Don't be like telling, you know, the local drunk you're gonna give them a bar tab for the night or something. You really need good spotters here to keep people safe. So then, so fast forward now, within a year of that, what did you bench press?
Did 446 at my last meet in a full meet. So that's about, I think, you know, Josh is smarter than I am, but that's 82%, 84%, somewhere right around of my my old personal best.
So basically Branch Warren, we talked to him and he basically said he's torn triceps and he's come back in a record time. He thought about 18 months to get back to 100%, and it looks like he's gonna be about dead on that. Yeah. So, and then so what it does is, what was interesting about this is sort of this crisis actually produced an opportunity here, because without having to focus so much on the bench, which has sort of been one of his strong points, the deadlift has become his Achilles heel. Initially it had gone up a lot, but it kind of stalled. And in powerlifting, it's all about a 3 lift total. So if your squat goes up 200 pounds and your bench goes down 20 and your deadlift goes down 20, still a net gain 160 pounds. So it's sort of in a way, who the hell cares as long as your total going up. But that kind of, so the deadlift got somewhat, I don't want to say complacent, but it hadn't been progressing at the same rate. So then all of a sudden that crisis produced opportunity to focus on the deadlift. Now one might argue that BJ's best lift is the deadlift. We get the squat and the bench press back up. He eclipses that 2,000 pound total, and now it's as a master's lifter. So that's pretty exciting, because every time something's happened, it's come back better, better, and better.
Like Josh said, each time I've come back from something, I have come back stronger. It's come back better. I think as I get older, I become a smarter lifter. Listening to everything Josh says has helped me out. I got to give him credit for everything, because, I mean, it's got to be in his hands to everything if you can keep coming back stronger after injuries and things like that. So I give him all credit, because on the deadlift, it never dropped down one bit during this whole time. And it stayed up, and like he said, I never thought I'd say it, but at the moment, deadlift is my best lift.
Yeah.
I think we meshed very well mentally. Honestly, anything that Josh says, I'm going to do. I leave it all in his hands. I trust him 100%. Like I said, we've been together 7 years. Anything he says, I'm doing. And so I've honestly, with my athletes at the school, I've almost taken over his philosophy and theory with how I treat them too. So it's really helped.
The thing is, but it's very nice of him to say that, but we have to also keep in mind, here's what's going to separate most people that hardly anybody talks about, is the mental aspect, the testicular fortitude, if you will. That's going to be the part that's going to really separate a lot of people. Is like, a lot of people, when it comes down to it, they just ain't got the coconuts for cojones, as we say down in Okinawa. So, and BJ does. So you got to have that drive, or it ain't gonna happen. So I would say, obviously you need a sound training plan, but there's all kinds of people in labs that lift nothing but test tubes, and when it comes to the platform, they can do nothing. Basically, one thing I feel it's lacking in a lot of athletics is coaches that are always going to be good role models. I don't think, if you're a strength conditioning coach, you necessarily have to be going for a 2,000 pound total, but at the same time and point, if you're drinking yourself to sleep every night and waking up to a dozen donuts and bench press 95 pounds, we got a bit of a problem. So BJ, I think, sort of exemplifies what's right with strength and conditioning. Like, he's training himself, but he's not so self-absorbed he can't give anything back either. He's kind of got that balance and that role model. That's exactly who I'd want my sons playing for. So does that kind of help you think, communicate with the kids because they know you can do it?
Yeah, I really think it helps a lot, because the kids, if they see that you're doing it yourself, they tend to trust you a lot more too. It's kind of like when people go look for an online coach or a trainer, things like that. You look at, what do his lifters do? What has he done? How much time and experience does he have studying the sport, and how much time and experience does he have under the bar? I mean, I think that plays a huge factor in it.
Come on, here we go. Yep, come on, BJ, here we go. All day, here we go, come on. Step forward, here we go. Come on. Yep, here we go. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the block pulls a little bit. The block, if you notice, BJ's not directly on the floor. He's elevated about 2.5 inches right there. And if you've never done block pulls, you might be wondering why. Okay. So there could be various reasons to do it. Like, for some people, it might help them recover faster, might be a little easier on their lower back, things like that. BJ, it's actually a special circumstance that actually takes me back to when I was competing myself. So anyways, for a strongman contest one time, the event was an 11-inch deadlift, which is about 2 inches elevated off the floor. And the first time I did it, I was very explosive off the floor like BJ is. And I did that, and I was weaker. It seemed very odd to me. It almost seemed like starting, like for instance, we've covered the dead bench press before. This sort of seemed like a dead bench press, almost in the sense of like, it was like starting, like I could get better leg drive and speed out of the bottom, but then all of a sudden it was kind of hard to start. It was an awkward position that I didn't feel like I didn't have that same leg drive. So this is one of those things you get from like actually experience in the field. No textbook's gonna cover this. So BJ, being a similar circumstance there, could actually pull more off the floor than off the blocks. So in a sense, in this individual instance, the blocks are actually helping him start off the bottom. And it's actually by doing the blocks here, as long as, you know, we obviously can't live off the blocks, you just become better at pulling off the blocks, and that would kind of defeat the purpose. But by training off the blocks some here in the off season, we're gonna build his starting strength. He'd actually get better starting strength by doing this than by doing like a deficit deadlift. And as you see on that last one, we're not gonna sugarcoat this and say, you know, it was all rainbows and sunshine. He missed the last one. Now granted, we were gonna only go up to 675, but since you know, 660, yeah, 660. I mean, but granted, it was a special circumstance here, where you know, he doesn't get up to Dallas a lot, so we thought we'd throw a little weight on, let it and have at it. But as you can see on the last one, it looked really good going up, really good actually. And then on that last one, the bar drifted away from you. I couldn't really tell real well from where I was standing. Then I got from the back angle and watched the video of it. You see the bar drifted away from him. Then he kind of pulls it in. He actually auto corrects it, and dang near gets there and finishes it, but it's just a little too late. But you know, so you can see even like big time lifters sometimes miss lates too. It didn't make this emotional, you know. It's just pragmatic. It's part of the game. Sometimes you miss a lift like this when you're going for a max like that, and this isn't the end of the world. It's been a great, productive session so far.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you never want to miss a lift, but it's week 2 of off season. The big picture's down the road, so I mean, you got to take your lumps, take your knocks on the chin whenever you get it in. Like I said, bar shot out in front of me. My hips shot up a little too fast. I tried to pull back, but just wasn't strong enough on this day to correct it and finish it.
And normally we wouldn't. Normally we would not go this heavy in week 2 of an off season. However, I wanted to see some of this, what's going on with heavyweight when we got up here in person, and kind of test it with the, because just did 733 off the floor, no problem. So we're gonna work starting strength by elevating the bar, because each circumstance is an individual circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get a chance to come up here and train with your coach and get hands-on. A lot of people, whenever you're going through your warm-ups, whenever you're going through the lighter sets, form and technique tend to stay intact because of the lighter weight, or you tend to correct it because it is lighter. And usually all your flaws come out whenever you start going heavier weight, kind of like Mike Tyson said, you know, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the lip.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and I got punched today.
There you go. Let's talk a little bit about, like, you know, a lot of people know BJ for traps. Wednesday, when I was out at Mark Bell's, I had mentioned BJ, and he just said traps. It's like the first thing that came out of his mouth. So people know BJ for traps. What do you think has been some of the most effective? Why do you think your traps, I mean, are you know, stand out? Like, how do you train that you think has helped build them so much?
Honestly, I think we do a lot of back work, and I think that's the biggest attribute to any of my lifts and all my lifts. And I think that plays a huge role in your trap work. And then just the amount of deadlift, whether it be heavy pulls, speed pulls, trap bar pulls, any of those I think really play a key factor in trap development. And as of recently, we've been adding a lot more trap work in. I was telling Josh the other day, I think this is the first time I've ever had it to where my traps are actually really sore. And they were sore.
and the thing is, it's like you're seeing the trap series here that's already been up is the total trap development, not just, you know, heavy barbell shrugs. You know, it's going to be total trap development. You know, we're hitting those T3 raises, incline shrugs, face pulls, things like that. So we're developing that whole beautiful, magnificent cobra right before your eyes. So I think the other thing is nutrition. I think, you know, BJ's, you know, he's not a bodybuilder, but he looks much better than most powerlifters. So let's talk a little bit about how you build that physique nutritionally, because, you know, you got one school of thought is basically you're slamming down, you know, McDonald's, you get KFC on the way home, and then that kind of thing, versus like, you know, just eat, you know, 100 chicken breasts a day and, you know, 12, you know, 15 cups of rice. Like, that's practical either.
I think the biggest for me is, honestly, the more I eat just completely clean, I tend to actually lose weight, even if it is just a ton of calories. So for me, I have to throw some junk in there. I've got to throw some ice cream in there every now and then. But the last diet that Josh wrote up for me has really been the best one for me that's helped me. It's just my thing is getting enough carbs. I think anybody and most people are going to get enough protein. I said, but I think the carbs.
Most lifters, I'd say.
Right. And I think where I lack and was focused on for a while would be my carbs. And so I think once I get my carbs in, I tend to stay fuller, and it helps me with more of the rice and the beef through my main meals. And I've been trying to limit it to and then the fish where it's easier to digest with with my Crohn's and everything like that. So that was a good touch that he had in there on that also.
Yeah, so that's one of, for someone like BJ, like a lot of times what I would suggest is I actually might get my brother to start working on his nutrition because I think he's really good. But what I like to do a lot of times with people is have him eat quote unquote clean, say he's gonna eat 4 or 5 meals a day clean, then whatever he wants. So like, I mean, one time I was talking to Branch over at Metroflex years ago, and he just said like, and another bodybuilder, like, yeah, just when you're kind of trying to bulk up a little bit, you just eat very similar to dieting, don't watch the carbs much, and then you eat 1 bad meal a day. So like, they're like, on the way home from the gym, I drive through Steak and Shake and eat it in the car, that type of thing. So like, for someone like BJ that's, metabolically efficient like that, that's going to work great. Now, if, in 3rd grade, if you had, sausage rolls in the back of your neck and you're 45% body fat, and you're eating the same things as everybody else, that probably is not going to work for you. But somebody like BJ that has more of an issue gaining weight, the clean meals all day with one, you throw a little grease in the motor, works like a charm. So enough theory, enough meet and greet. Let's go ahead and hit the pig iron now.